concur.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every shot of Parasite was meticulously thought out and like was there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like there was a wasted moment of the film, but then again, I still haven't rewatched it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And the screenplay I thought was like some sort of perfection. I mean, everything in the screenplay, every bit of dialogue, the father saying to the mother, "Oh, the woman, the rich woman that they're working for she's so nice and she's so naive, but she's so nice and
she's simple.
She's simple." And
nice but simple.
His wife goes, "Well, if I was rich, I'd be nice too." You know?
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, she's brutalizing the other, underclass person that's trying to take care of her husband in the basement.
That's
She's saying, "No, we're sisters, we're sisters." She's like, "Screw you, I'm calling the police."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also love whenever she talks about her son's artwork.
Mm.
Do you remember?
Oh, he's a genius.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
Mm.
Do you remember?
No, remember.
That was one of the first things.
Yeah, it's one of the first things that's brought up. It's brought up in the first meeting with the teenage son.
That's right.
And this is Da Say's painting. He's such a genius. I have the painting.
Yeah.
That he paints repetitively throughout the film looks like the man in the double basement.
Really? Oh.
And so the painting that he's painting is big face,
Uh-huh.
arrow pointing upward,
Uh-huh.
teepee.
Really?
Yes. And then black scribbles in the bottom right hand corner.
Kind of like a basement type, or
well, the daughter bullcraps and says, "That's the schizophrenia corner. I'm an art therapist."
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, yeah. Anytime they talk about his artwork, it's just
the art therapy stuff is so funny. The actress,
I love
her. She's like so sharp.
So sharp, yeah.
It's so good.
And I like when they're doing the Chicago. What do they say?
Oh, like her name, friend of a cousin, Illinois, Chicago.
Illinois, Chicago. Yes.
She went to
U of I.
U of I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
Which is funny because that's one of the two like super nice schools in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the thing with the drawing, I didn't notice that where it was the same
I didn't notice it
drawing
until I saw a static image of it after I watched the movie.
That reinforces, I think, what I was saying about how every microcosm of the film is in every shot, and so it's also in every one of those drawings.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like a repetition of, okay, this is the theme for this kid, and there's a lot of symmetry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's literally a symmetrical film.
Yeah,
they go up and then they go down, and I think it's like almost exactly half, because the end of the first half is them. The end of the first half is by Kim's. The Parks are going on a camping trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then like partway through the second act, after they have their day in sunshine, their one triumph
in the sun,
their one day in the sun. They get the knock from the
doorbell rings.
The doorbell rings, and I think that might be the exact halfway point of the movie, and then from then on, it's a descent.
Yeah.
Aha.
So
convergence.
It's a climb,
and then a fall.
They start in the basement, they wind up here, their day in the sun, and then their seeds of their descent are precipitated by that doorbell.
His name is Da Song.
Da Song. Cool.
What do you think, Sophie? Did you like the acting in Parasite?
The acting is so good.
There is a dog in the movie, do you remember?
No.
when the mom says, "I would be nice too," a dog comes running in right just at that moment, which I probably no accident, and I don't care to even know what it means, but it's cool.
I wish I could remember.
I remember.
The dogs are such a secondary. I actually wish that they did more with the dogs because there's 3 dogs, but you like never see them.
If you would have quizzed me right now, I would have said absolutely no dogs.
No dogs.
in the
I remembered
film.
1 dog, but you remember 3 dogs.
Well,
Have you seen the
because
same movie?
they all have different foods, and the mom makes such a fuss of like, oh, this one likes this kind of treat, and this one likes before they go off on the camping trip.
Mm.
I don't remember that.
Okay, well, you're Mr. Plot. So,
We're Mr. and Mrs. Senile. Can't remember.
I love
no, we're
the
Mr. and Mrs. Seeing insight and depth readers of themes that other people don't see.
I'm super shallow.
And
False.
that didn't mean to exclude you from that, but
Mr. Shallow over
you
here.
have that too, but you have an added superpower, which is you can't remember the plot of anything.
Sorry.
And then
Hey,
Sophie is
I'm
Miss
throwing it right back at you.
Love.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Look at her.
the violence at the end.
Yeah.
That was to me the one thing where it was like, I just, everything was perfect except for the kind of Keystone Cops over the top violence of it. It just, I didn't see the necessity to have it be so, so brutal. And I can't think of any reason why it had to be like that, other than maybe it's some kind of a tradition in the cinema of Korea that I'm not aware of, or maybe it's because he's trying to make some kind of a point. What do you people think about that violence at the end?
I think it is a fitting climax of like it is a culmination of all of the tensions that have built up. But I agree with you that it wasn't my favorite moment of the film by any means. I think that I mean, it was hard for me, I guess, but I think that given that that's what happens in the movie, I think they did it very tastefully because you don't really see much. You see like a shot of a sandwich and then blood gets splattered on it. And then you see the knife in the person, but you don't really see a lot of stabbing.
It's like the Hitchcock thing.
That's a Hitchcock thing, yeah.
So I didn't think that it was gratuitous. It was like the actual violence that happens in the scene was really brutal.
Do you think it needed to happen as a catharsis for this classes?
I think that's something that it would have been better if what I thought was going to happen was I thought that the crazy guy was going to come out after thinking that he killed the teenage son with the rock. And then come out with the rock or with a knife, and then the son was going to shoot a fake arrow at him,
Yeah.
and then he would get tackled by somebody else. Like he would be startled, or like the fake arrow would hit his wound on his head, and he would go "ow," and then somebody would see the knife and then tackle him.
Yeah.
I would have liked that better.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
But that would have given the kid a role in the.
I thought that the kid shooting an arrow
neutralizing-
would be something.
Yeah,
Or that they would come
That's
out with
true.
the hatchets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because then it would have been like the upper class person and the lower class person saving the kids or something.
Sure.
But I think that this is, the way that the violence happens makes a stronger case for the allegory angle of it, which I don't like.
Yeah, because it's too simple.
'Cause that's the
Reductive.
only way
It's
it works.
too reductive.
Yeah.
I like.
That's what felt like cheaper about it, because it was too reductive.
I like the idea of the themes being about trust and personal recommendation, because they make a big deal out of that in the first act, of like the mom like basically looks at the camera and goes, "A belt of trust."
Oh, yeah.
Personal recommendations are better.
Yeah.
I trust you.
Lots of blanket, simple statements.
Yes.
Well, the ingenuity of the one of my favorite things I think about it is that the ingenuity of the underclass, scrambling to survive, scrambling ways to figure out some way out of that, desultory basement, trying to get their Wi-Fi from the neighbors where they're just, and they're all scrambling, but they're all kind of together and they're kind of getting along in a weird sort of way.
Yeah, they're kind of a very close family unit.
They're working together.
Whereas the other family,
are totally separate lives.
Totally separate lives. So, and I think that's true in my experience of, kind of upper class, lower class. The lower class has got to stick together amongst themselves, at least in their family, but it's not true that the underclass sticks together with other underclass from other families because they wind up practically devouring each other. Dog eat dog and all that kind of thing.
right? I recently heard somewhere, I don't remember where, but it was somebody who was not from America talking about their experience in America and how people refer to their class often. Like, oh, I grew up middle class. I grew up whatever. Oh, he was upper class. Lower class. Yeah, it's like a part of our thing, but I'm curious, what that's like in Korea.
Yeah, I wonder that
what
too.
the language is there.
I wonder what the language is too. I know in England, I've always been a fan of English comedy and cinema and all that stuff. And, it was very much in the private schools and public schools. Public schools there are the highest. And people that went to Oxford, like the Monty Python guys, they went to Oxford or Cambridge.
Yeah.
And their satire was based on making fun of that kind of education. But that was a certain level as opposed to the Cockney kind of My Fair Lady, get me to the church on time and all that kind of thing, where it's very stratified based on how you talk. So I wonder what it is in Korea. So I think maybe the violence is explained by something that I don't know about Korean culture.
Maybe.
What did you think of that climax?
I remember, feeling frustrated, not necessarily with the direction it was going per se, but more so there was this big high. We were talking about that convergence of the one side of the film, the latter half and the front half. And that was such a high, and you're kind of rooting for this family. And there's no violence, but there is kind of a lot of mischief and all this kind of stuff. But when it falls, it falls really hard. And so I think I was just experiencing that and kind of dang,
yeah, that's a good
they
point.
can't live in that.
How far have they fallen?
Right.
How far
So
have they fallen?
you're watching these people pay this huge price for the lies and things that they've done. So it was more hard to watch for that reason.
Because you're kind of rooting for them.
You are kind of rooting for them. I mean, they're kind of ridiculous characters, but lovely characters, and at least for me, in their own special way. So, and I even liked I liked both families. So,
yeah, they're not evil. Neither of them are evil.
No. And some would argue that they weren't deserving of that kind of violent end.
Yeah.
I think that was underlying why it bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not witnessing violence against
The bad guys.
the bad guys who deserve whatever in this fictional world.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I agree.
So that's the essence.
There's that moment where the father from the underclass family is they're in the bushes and the dad from the other family is saying, okay, so when they bring out the cake, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And what's the actor's name? The guy's so fantastic.
I don't know. I don't have the actors' names here,
Anyway.
but I do have the characters' names.
The guy he's the character in all of this guy's movies. And Snowpiercer, did you see Snowpiercer?
I didn't.
That's worth watching.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
He's
It
in
looked
that,
like
too.
dumb action movie based on the trailers, but it's not.
It's
right.
not. No, it's not. It's really good.
I wish that it was marketed differently then, but maybe he was trying to get that American blockbuster.
Yeah, it'd be hard. It's hard to even describe what it is. It's a very strange idea what the whole thing is. But fathers are talking, and there's a part of me that was like, man, maybe they'll become friends and they'll go play golf or something, you know?
Yeah.
And he gives him some insight about his wife. He goes, your wife, something, he has some insight about how he should approach the trauma or something.
Right.
It's like really a deep insight. And the other guy looks at him and goes, listen, you work for me. I'm paying you by the hour. So basically, stay out of it.
Right.
And the other guy's just crushed. But he doesn't react with like American acting, like crushed. He just has that, he conveys so much with so little.
Yeah.
That guy is great. And so there's this, maybe they could like team up, but that's not realistic. That's not how society works.
No.
Well, it's like he keeps,
yeah.
you remember you're in your place,
And-
you smell, and I don't
Right.
need any
There's this
psychological
whole
advice.
thing about smell in the movie, of like poor people smell.
I actually really liked
That theme.
I thought that was a great theme.
Because that's what culminates in him murdering, that the poor father murders rich father.
Right. Yeah. It was.
Not even because he thinks that his family smells, he thinks that the guy in the double basement smells.
Say that again.
Oh.
The father of the Park family, the rich family, while he just witnessed somebody being stabbed, he holds his nose
right.
at getting his keys out from under a man that just got stabbed by a skewer.
Right.
Just because the guy smells bad.
That seemed over the top to me.
And his wife has fainted. A girl just got stabbed. Like his kid's art therapist just got stabbed, and
Yeah.
he's holding his nose.
Yeah, that was a note that I was like, nobody would be that sensitive about a smell. Then in that moment they wouldn't just be adrenalinized.
Yeah,
But again,
get family safe.
That's why the ending becomes more allegorical.
Yeah, and then
Just-
More symbolic.
the-
too.
Yeah,
the Kim family, the poor family's father, just like runs up and just stabs him.
Yeah.
Like unprovoked. Well, I mean that's the provocation, but like
Yeah, he's like had enough.
yeah.
It's very Shakespearean. It's very
it is very
Hitchcockian.
It's very Shakespearean
There's a-
in that way.
Yes, and there's so much Hitchcock
That's
all
why
over
everybody
it.
hates Shakespeare.
Yeah.
No.
What's another Hitchcock aspect to it, do you think?
I think just the tone, the
them,
mystery.
them lying under the table, except for the sex part.
Wait, but what was the line under the table?
Just sort of
Hitchcock.
like audience knows something, other characters
Got
do
it.
not know.
The definition of suspense,
Yeah.
according to
Yeah.
Hitchcock, yeah.
And when you read about is it Bong Joon-ho?
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho.
That's
I
close
think.
enough for me.
Close enough. He pulls a lot of influence from so many amazing
Yeah.
American directors.
Scorsese. A lot of Scorsese.
Did you see?
Oh, his acceptance speech?
And when he,
Oscar,
and then Scorsese's like
It
crying.
looks like Scorsese's gonna like start crying.
Oh,
yeah.
that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Bong Joon-ho. BONGJOON-HO.
Got it. Thank you.
I learned from Martin Scorsese that the more personal, the greater the art.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's true.
it's true. In my opinion, it's true.
Yeah.
But other Hitchcockian,
Other elements,
I would say that like tone-wise,
it just feels like
it
a
reminds me
Hitchcock film.
of like tonally it's sort of similar to some of the madness aspects of like Vertigo.
ooh, that's
Mm-hmm.
good.
That's or
I didn't
maybe
think of that.
and maybe even some of the comedic parts of Rear Window,
I think there's a lot of Rear Window in
because
it.
Rear Window's really funny,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets scary, but it's mostly really funny.
Well, it certainly has a big window as a,
As a motif.
metaphor and a motif,
That's true.
and a window onto, different. The themes occur outside the window,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I think,
we're talking about because like there's a lot of window imagery in the movie.
yes, and
As you pointed out earlier, of the picture window and then the half basement window, which is like you have. They talk about this in the Vanity Fair thing of like half basements are weird in Korea. And he sort of says that it means that it's not a basement apartment and there's still some hope because they can see the sky still.
Still some hope, yeah.
Yeah. Even though their hope is looking at a drunk guy piss.
Yeah. But it's something.
They can see the sky still.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
All is not lost.
Well, then the son having that fantasy at the end that he's gonna.
Oh, so it's when it hard cuts back to him in the basement, because you're like, oh, is this a flash forward?
I thought it was.
Did he really buy the house? And then it hard cuts back to
I
him.
remember it now. Okay. Yeah, it's coming back to me.
Oh.
Heartbreak.
I walked away thinking he had bought the house. I forgot about the flashback there. I'm more hopeful.
I was
I'm
like,
a glass half full.
are we
Yeah.
doing this super happy ending? I'm so happy.
I know.
And then it hard cuts back to
Did
him.
you hear that they're going to be making a TV series with Mark Ruffalo?
Based on Parasite?
Oh, so yeah, sorry. A Parasite series.
Hard to picture, but
with
you never
Mark
know.
Ruffalo.
Is it just going to be the first act? Is it just like... Is it,
A family on
oh,
basement.
this rich family's so quirky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you need me to take the groceries out again? Oh no, the dog ate chocolate, but oh no, it's actually a weed chocolate brownie. We have to take him to the vet.
That would be a new version of My Man Godfrey, which I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's.
I've heard the title
I
many
haven't.
times, but I have no idea
Fantastic.
what you're talking about.
I must. We got to get that on the calendar. It's William Powell, about 1939. He's a guy that's living on a garbage dump, and these rich socialites have a treasure hunt, and one of the items on the treasure hunt is to find a forgotten man. So Carol Lombard, who was one of the great comedians of the 30s and 40s,
Yeah.
I mean, just incandescently telegenic and photogenic and funny. She finds William Powell on the garbage dump. Are you a forgotten man? He goes, well, I suppose I am. And takes him home, and he winds up becoming the butler for the family. But things are not what they seem.
Well, that sounds very
So-
Parasite.
It sounds parasitic.
Oh, snap! Pun of the night from the father. Makes sense. That was great. And he walks away.
Mic drop.
Mic drop for sure.
Only plot.
Yes.
No set design. It's just a... They're just filming in a bar.
No set design.
I love that movie. Wait, and then what was the connection that you were making, Chris?
Oh, a concern that I had when I was watching Parasite, but it was alleviated because you recommended to me, and I know that you wouldn't recommend to me a slasher without telling me it was a slasher movie before.
Well, that was your safety valve.
Which is when the previous housekeeper rings the doorbell and it's like, hello,
Yeah.
can I please come in? I thought she was going to have a knife or a gun or something and try and kill everybody.
Yeah. Well, in a way, did she have malintent?
She wanted to get her husband food.
Okay, so
Who's in
no.
the- no.
Okay.
No, but the first shot of her is
Yeah.
like a fisheye lens through the door security portal.
Like there's something
And she
off.
looks a lot like, that's what made me think of Death Trap. She looks a lot like the woman, she comes in the middle of the night in Death Trap, and it's raining, and she's got a rain hat on, and she turns out to be a psychic and all that stuff.
That I don't remember.
Yeah.
Wow.
She says, there was a murder that happened here.
Oh.
All I remember
Yeah.
is being absolutely kind of horrified and shocked when Christopher Reeves and Michael Caine start making out.
That was a shocking moment for anybody that didn't know anything about the movie before they saw it, because that was rare for two
Well,
major
it wasn't
actors.
because it was gay. It was because, oh my god, they just killed everybody. And they're gay. So it was that they were like lovers planning to kill everybody around them so
Okay,
they can
gays
run
never
off.
do that. Unless you've ever heard of Leopold and Loeb.
Yeah, right.
It's,
That was a very Leopold in the film, wasn't it?
A little bit. But the
But
plot, the idea that this play that Christopher Reeves is writing is so valuable, they're willing to commit murder over it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of
it
murder
a play? first?
It was a play first. That must have been a great play to see. Because it was a
real.
play within a play within a play. And
That would have been so cool. They better bring that back.
now that would be a TV show with Mark Ruffalo.
It would be such a...
Also,
Now, don't get me wrong.
also
I'm
he
not gonna
kisses
hate.
Donald Trump Jr.
I'm not gonna hate on Mark Ruffalo. He's a great actor, but I'm just confused.
Oh my god, what if... I want Donald Trump Jr. to star in this, that we can see him kiss a man.
It's what the world needs.
That would
right
just
now.
make me laugh, and
Yeah.
then I would feel nothing else. I would laugh once.
I would laugh once and be like, worth it, and then run off into the sunset.
Yeah, it'd be worth it to have that one laugh.
Well, we could look up Death Trap or My Man Godfrey
I don't
or
actually
The
want to watch
Host.
Death Trap again.
Okay,
My Man Godfrey.
or The Host.
Or The
Kind
Host.
of more-
I don't know if I would want to watch My Man Godfrey based on what you said.
I
Sorry.
didn't say much.
You did just
Well,
watch
then rich
Hereditary,
people-
though.
I did just watch... I want to go see The Lighthouse. I watched Good Time.
Oh, right. And you weren't too keen on it.
So, apparently they do it less in Uncut Gems. But, I'm hiccuping from that.
Not from
the
the-
halva, not the alcohol. I don't get hiccups from alcohol.
Is that straight?
Gin?
Yeah.
No. It is a splash of gin and sparkling water.
It's like a little mini gin and tonic.
Oh,
The
sounds good.
but in Good Time is mostly close-ups, and it's
Too much.
so claustrophobic.
Yeah. Sensory overload.
It's just uncomfortable. I just sat there and I was just like,
Get me out of your face! Gosh!
I paid good money for this thing.
and Robert Pattinson jokes in interviews of like he thinks that these directors invented a new genre called panic, where it's just an emulation of an anxiety attack.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I agree.
I also think along those lines,
So I don't want to see Uncut Gems anymore, even though I love Adam Sandler's dramatic performance.
you'll probably maybe save it for when it comes out on...
Yeah. I really want to see The Lighthouse, though.
That's one I might not see.
That looked really good from the trailer.
It looks incredible. But that and the Babadook, whatever that is, that kind of madness, I can't handle that.
Really?
Yeah, I have
What other movies are of that ilk?
So you would
Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, I watched 10
So,
minutes
like-
of that. Forget it.
you would have a harder time reading Moby Dick than a horror book? Because it's about, like, madness or...
Oh, 100%. Because horror...
Now we're poking at something interesting.
Yes, continue. Because... and also, I do find true crime fascinating. I'm not... I will cry from a documentary. I will not necessarily cry from a film. Because I know...
Because of the realness.
Yes, granted, Pixar
Is the...
can do a
aspect-
number on me,
Yeah.
for sure. And there are
Their
films...
emotionality feels real.
And Titanic, like, I mean, they're just films that, like, I'm guaranteed to cry
Right.
from them.
Tearjerkers.
Tearjerkers.
I looked up tearjerkers the other day, and Titanic was one, and
Yeah.
Toy Story 3 was another one.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a big one for sure. But, yeah, it's something in the madness of the Babadook and the Lighthouse and Jacob's Ladder and...
Did you see The Lighthouse, or you just saw the
No.
trailer and you were like, I already know that
Yeah.
I'm not going to like it?
Which, now, keep in mind, that director, is it Robert?
Made one of your favorite movies
My
ever.
favorite movies of the past decade.
Yeah, I watched a breakdown, like an analysis of The Witch,
Of The Witch.
of like the whole thing, so I know the whole plot
Yeah, the
now.
whole thing. That's cool.
I
Will not see it.
think cool idea. I'm never
Never
gonna
gonna
watch
watch
it
I get that.
ever.
I get that.
You made the right call and telling me not to watch it.
I also told you not to watch Hereditary.
You
And
did.
look what you did!
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm proud of you.
I really.
Madness. Hereditary's madness is all over that.
Hereditary.
But it's a different.
That's grief.
That's like a curse.
It's a
and
curse
grief.
and it's a cult.
I mean, where it's more realistic like everyday madness.
But I have a
Like-
similar reaction, but for a different thing, which is a specific kind of betrayal. I just can't handle in movies. So like Rosemary's Baby is like
Yeah.
The ultimate.
the ultimate example
Betrayal.
of that.
Your
of
mom,
just-
your mom had that when she used to watch
Reaction.
regular movies.
Yeah.
She couldn't stand when somebody was running a number on somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like there's a certain depth of betrayal that I just
Yeah.
cannot handle in
Yeah.
film. Of just like
So
We all
sorry,
have our
Chris,
limitations.
for the Rosemary's Baby.
you don't have to keep
I'll
apologizing.
apologize to the day I die.
Well,
It's okay.
I'm wondering if you don't get your madness filmophobia from the fact that I was a negligent father and left the movie Wild at Heart lying around.
Oh, that one did a number on me, let me tell you what.
I don't think that makes you a negligent father.
No, it
It was,
doesn't.
it was pretty negligent to leave that lying around. It's
I-
not like I thought you were going to see it, but I came home from work one day and you go, "This is great," or something.
I don't know what I said, but I vividly remember that film, and I think that's probably the root of all my
I think I found it.
my skit.
I was
my
thinking
horror
what movies
movie
portray
stuff.
madness in a really disturbing way. That kind of
Yeah.
like regular people madness, and Wild at Heart was definitely.
Yeah, I've never seen it after that, and I don't plan to.
I don't plan to ever see it again.
No.
Remember Norman Bates from Psycho when he's talking with Janet Leigh before you find out that he's who he is, and she talks about that ordinary people do crazy things sometimes, and
Yeah.
We all
Norman
go a
Bates
little
says,
mad
"Oh, we
sometimes."
all go a little mad sometimes,"
Yeah.
and the way he delivers that line,
The framing of that scene
yeah.
we talked a lot about in my film class in high school.
Well, see,
Same.
now we're back to Parasite because the framing of each shot
Oh, yeah,
in
like-
Hitchcock tells the story just like
Yeah, Bong Joon-ho does that
yeah.
in spades in this movie. Like
Yeah.
everything is like idea.
What was the thing in Parasite about the tent in the yard? There was something about the tent and the lights, and there was some real suspenseful
Yeah.
scene where the lights
Yes.
were gonna, if they came on, the whole jig was up.
Yes.
And so, Plotmeister.
Oh, okay. So this is sort of a culmination of like many plot devices in the film.
Right. This is like the nexus of.
Yeah, this is the day before the climax. So this is at highest tension. The Kims have had their day in the sun.
Right.
They're super happy.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then it's also already come crashing down.
How does it come crashing down?
The housekeeper has already come back. They've found out about the man in the basement. They've tied up the man in the basement. The previous housekeeper has been injured. I thought she died. Because she hits her head hard.
She sure does.
And I was just like, is this movie just gonna keep going? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
are we not gonna check on her?
Did they call this movie Parasite for a reason that I suspect something
Yeah.
else might come crawling out of the.
Yeah.
And so, after all of that happens, they get a call from the Park family going, "Hey, it's raining, and our camping trip is canceled. We're gonna be home in 10 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
And there's like glass all over the floor. The
That was a great moment.
Yeah.
that whole scene was amazing.
She's making ramen.
Yeah, she makes ramen. They clean up all of the glass. They clean everything up just in time, but not enough time to get out of the house. And so they, three of them end up sneaking underneath the huge coffee table in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And then the kid's like, "I want to go camping." Mm-hmm. And then they're like, "It's too rainy to go camping. We just left the camping. I want to go camping." "Okay, you can set up your tent in the backyard."
Yes.
And so he sets up his tent in the backyard, and he gives a walkie-talkie to his dad.
Oh, that's right.
So they're like joking, talking back and forth. And then the dad and mom decide that they're gonna sleep on the couch just in case the kid is in trouble, or just in case it gets too flooded. They're gonna check on him every once in a while to make sure he's okay. Good parents. And then and unbeknownst to them, the Kim family is underneath the coffee table, right in front of them. And then they have the sort of like weird sex scene, which I feel like is to make the audience uncomfortable and make the Kims very uncomfortable, because it's supposed to go of like intimate moment, and then they are invading the space,
Like a parasite.
like a parasite.
Mm.
And it was also supposed to be funny, because it's so weird. Their dialogue is buy me drugs, buy me drugs.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
like,
They're
what?
like, they're like role playing or something, right?
It's not ever explained.
I don't remember much about that. I remember the Kims under the table and the other people right there. Talk about tension.
And through all of that, the kid is in his tent playing American Indian and like swinging his flashlight around. And if he opens up his tent and like looks at his parents, because he knows that his parents are right there, and he sticks his flashlight forward, he'll see right under the table.
Oh.
And that's established earlier.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so it's just like,
Tension.
if he opens the tent, period, it's over.
Yeah.
But luckily he has like books and
He's chill.
he's totally chill.
There's something with the lights being flashing on and
That's
off.
the basement dude.
Yeah, that's the basement dude. That's kind of like horrifying in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's like some Kafka-esque prison.
Yeah. That was like,
That was pretty
what the-
dark. Yeah.
It's like dark, and it's also so surreal.
It is.
And
It's like something out of Nikolai Gogol.
it like totally works in the film, but it's so surreal.
Who's Nikolai Gogol?
He was a writer that wrote short stories that I used to like because they were creepy. There's one called The Nose, which I showed Chris a little snippet of a pin animation where it's it's a barber that accidentally cuts off the nose of one of his clients, and he spends the rest of the short story looking for the nose.
Interesting.
So dark, mysterious, inexplicable, but it's written as if it's broad daylight makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like so strange, but
Yeah.
But barefaced
You know,
about it.
it's surreal and disturbing, which the guy having to do that, and also, but some kind of weird punishment or,
Well, it's not a he views it for himself as a punishment, but it wasn't imposed by anybody.
but it's like some sort of like a pathetic obsession type of thing.
Yes,
Like,
there's
Manga.
a focus on singular focus
focus on singular focus.
in like
yeah.
of like
Like in
choose
Old
your
Boy.
craft and then do your craft forever.
Like Hero Dreams of Sushi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for him, it is, I am the automatic light system for the Kim family when they leave and enter their house.
Ooh, there's a theme in Snowpiercer that's just like that.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to watch. Is it on Netflix?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch that.
But the layer that is excellent about it is that he knows Morse code. And he knows, because he listens to the Kim family all the time, he knows that the little kid knows Morse code.
That's right. Man, what a screenplay. I mean,
So cool.
It's
It's
so
so cool.
brilliant.
And so he
put together.
writes out a message to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the kid doesn't get it because he's sleeping in the tent.
What was the message he was trying to get to him?
Of like, help. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He's hitting with his nose or his head?
he's hitting with his head at the end.
Oh.
Because he usually uses his finger like a normal person.
A good normal person who's trapped in a basement.
But in the end, he's like slamming his head into it.
Yeah. I
Why
need to
was-
rewatch it.
Why was he in the basement in the first place?
So long story.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad you're here too.
The housekeeper has the Kim is not the first family she's worked for in this house. The house was built by a famous Korean architect. He's sort of described as this like visionary. Who's the famous architect? Does these
Lloyd Wright?
Frank Lloyd Wright. He's sort of described like Frank Lloyd
Wright.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
No, Frank Lloyd Wright.
He's just
Blank steak, great.
He's described like Frank Lloyd Wright, and she was his housekeeper. And when he decides to move with his family, he's just moving on to other projects. He's like, I've made my beautiful house.
Yes.
I am moving on.
Yes.
After 4 years, I think, he moves out, and then there's another family moving in, and he's like, my personal recommendation is that my housekeeper was excellent. And that's the personal recommendation thing again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Please hire her. She's great. And she is great. Except that she's allergic to peaches.
Peach fuzz.
Peach fuzz specifically.
Oh, yes.
But there's a couple of months in between him moving out and the Park family moving in, and the housekeeper and her husband live like kings, so they have their day in the sunshine.
Mm.
And then when the Park family moves in, he moves to the basement because they don't have a home because she lives there 24/7.
And he's got like debts or something like
And
that.
he's hiding from debt collectors because they used loan sharks or something, and which is like never explained. But maybe she's good with money and he's bad with money is sort of the implication, because she's being paid well as like a super rich housekeeper, but he blows all the money. But they love each other anyways. Like there's no sense of tension between them. They just love each other. And he ends up trapped in the basement when the Park family moves in, because he's hiding.
Got it.
Wow.
It's so weird.
It's pretty outlandish.
And it's
when
like
it's described just verbally, it's
It's
even
like-
weirder than when you
Yeah.
see it because it just all flows.
Yeah. It's such a visual film. And as we're talking, I just keep looking at
I
this.
know. Whenever I look at that, I think it was Uzumaki.
Oh, yes, the spirals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it makes that terrifying for me.
I drink a lot of coffee before the
I actually really like that. It's very storybook-like.
I can't not think
Like
of
Stella
Uzumaki.
Nona.
I should give your.
I was thinking the same.
There's a lot of.
Is that a personal
every room-
recommendation?
Every room, yeah.
Is that a personal recommendation? I'll live in the basement. Is there a basement?
There's a sub-basement.
Yeah, have you ever pushed on any of the bookshelves?
No, I have not. Tonight's the night.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that either.
Well, I think I'd like to have a little gin on the rocks with
Yeah.
a splash of something.
I'll get
That'd
that
be
for
good
you. And some food, too.
Well, why don't we
What
all
we have.
go in and
Check out...
Is that a cut?
Cut.
scene.
Scene.
Josh.
Josh?
Looks like you had breakfast with.
Yeah, we had brunch. I made pancakes and bacon.
I told you about the line when
Yeah.
he was at the house. And
Lost in Michael's eyes.
he said, yeah, I'm still here. I'm just lost in Michael's eyes.
Such a pet.
It's like this sweetness.
I know.
It's like Sophie.
He is like Sophie.
Okay, so I brought this. We can just throw it in the microwave and heat it up. I got taco shells we can use as chips.
Yeah.
That would be easy. Easy peasy. This is phenomenal.
Hey, Sophie. Good doggy.
I love those.
Where's a good doggy?
Just the microwave sugar? Okay. I don't know what can
You happy?